What I'd like to do next is talk about strength in numbers, introduce past superintendent, Mr. Greg Ring. Greg has done a fantastic job of heading up a county effort to address this issue of testing. So we're going to play a video. I'll let him introduce it, then we'll play the video and go from there.
Yeah, good. Glad to see you all. Glad to be back in Firelands. I miss you. I will tell you that. I enjoyed my 4 years as superintendent here immensely. And I still keep an eye on the district and certainly will do anything in my current position as the Educational Service Center Superintendent to help Firelands. The first Friday of every month, the superintendents across the county, there are actually 16 of us, the ESC, the JVS, and then 14 local districts, including Firelands, Keystone, Elyria, everybody like that. We get together, and usually our state legislators are with us. Senator Manning, Gail Manning, is almost always there. Her son now is a representative. He's been, I think, at 4 of the last 5 meetings, sometimes Dan Ramos. We come together, and of course, their part of the agenda is always to talk about the latest bills. What's going on in Columbus that's going to impact us. And she always gives us a report and talks about those things that are coming. Well, I could tell you that usually right on the tail end of her presentation, the whole volume in the room starts to rise because there's so much frustration among the superintendents across the county on many of the things that are coming down really from Columbus that as superintendents and really as school board members, as public, as the community, you have very little input. It has been very much a top-down agenda in terms of what is happening in Ohio's education platform and moving ahead. When I say top-down, it's not just from the governor or the legislator here. Many times it's coming from Washington, D.C. Like Mike just mentioned, sometimes they're funding things that happen there. If you want this money, Ohio, you'll do these things. That puts pressure on them to enact legislation. And those things happen really without a lot of conversation at the local level. That's not right. We need to restore local control. We need to have a voice as citizens in the kind of education that's going on in our classrooms with our students. And you've stood up. This past year, Firelands was more than anybody in Lorain County stood up and said, we're not crazy about this testing thing. We want to have a voice. We have concerns about this. And good for you. And good for you. So having said that, in the last year and a half, the county superintendents have come together and put some things together to talk to their communities about. We did a survey, and we asked people across Lorain County. We made 600 phone calls. And we talked to people across Lorain County. What do you think of testing? How important is testing in the way that you judge your school district, in the way you formulate your perception about the excellence of your school district? And you know what we heard? It's not very important at all. That as parents, you don't think a whole lot. You don't think, it does. I'm sure there are some people that look at those and there is some merit in that. But in the end, it's really not that important. And I think sometimes as administrators and teachers, we probably put too much importance on it. But that's what we're asked to do, and we've worked hard to make sure that our students are prepared and doing well. So having said that, one of the things we did, just the past couple months ago, last 2 months, is to put together a video. And this video, you can find it on a website. The website is called forohiopublicschools.org. And that's our Lorain County Superintendent's website that we have put together. You'll find the survey results on there. You can see the survey that we asked the people. Some people in Firelands responded to that. We had somebody from every district in Lorain County responded. So it's for FOR, not the number, but FOR, OhioPublicSchools.org. And that's a local website that we're working to put together and disseminate information. And as we continue to have this conversation, we want that website to be a repository of information that can be helpful to you as parents to help you make decisions and have a voice in the way that legislation is put together. And Mike is right, the time is now. In 2 weeks, this will be over, and whatever's decided, we will have to do our best to comply with those mandates for the next 2 years. So the time really is right for you, for your voice to be heard. And really, the only people you can call is your legislators. For some of you, it's Terry Boos. For some of you, it may be Nathan Manning. I think we all have Senator Manning as our senator that live out this way. So it's important that you have conversation with them, and they do listen. God bless Senator Manning. She has done so many good things. She always listens, and she's even introduced legislation based on some of the things that we as superintendents have come to her and said, we'd like to see this happen. Sometimes nothing happens with the legislation. That's not her fault. It just doesn't get traction in Columbus because it's, as you know, a very political environment. So I'm going to show you a video. We did 3 videos. One is on charter schools. We have a lot of concerns about charter schools, we, the superintendents. One is on local control. But the one I'm going to share with you for tonight is testing. We have about a 5-minute video here, and this will kind of give you a little bit of idea of what we feel as the 16 superintendents across the county about testing. The list there at the end was really, I think, what we most feel strongly about is that last one. Assessment needs to be designed to help the student and not rank districts for state purposes. The current testing system, I think all of our people, all of the superintendents would agree, is really not about students. It's about ranking and rating school districts. And again, there might be some relevance in that, but I believe there's a better way to do it. And we use the term formative assessment. For those of you who may not know what that would be, those are short-term assessments that we teach for a while. Let's say we teach till the middle of October, the end of October, and we give a short assessment at that point. And it could be a standardized assessment that we use across the state of Ohio. But it's not high stakes and it's not this big deal. It's just like the tests that your kids take all the time. And you plug one in and maybe it's 10 questions in math. And it goes back and it looks at those standards that should have been covered within that time frame. And then we do that, and then we have the results of that task back in real time. So the teacher can go into the classroom a day, 2 days, no more than a week later, and have meaningful information that they can look at your child and say, wow, your child's not real good at multiplication. That's something we need to work at. They can't think at the next level. And then that gives people like Mike and our principals and our teachers chances to build interventions where we can help your child right then on those things they don't know and move them forward. And then you go through that process again, maybe in December. And then maybe you do it one more time in March. And we have the technology, even though I would argue on a statewide basis, to do those little chunks of what we call formative assessments. And you do 3 or 4 of those across the year, and you'll be able to see how that child has moved in math from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And if they have to have a number, look at that growth from where that child started and where that child finished the year. And we currently have that in value added. When you hear us talk about value added, that's what we're trying to get at, is trying to determine the growth of the student. Well, why couldn't we use that kind of methodology to come out and make determinations about how we're doing and how we're accountable to you as taxpayers, and use that information instead of one high-stakes test that you don't get the results for 6 or 8 months. That doesn't help students.